channel.
The No Pressure channel presents the May event. Now, the May event is where you guys, the voters or the supporters, decide who faces off in what category and what genre. You guys have been voting for the past couple months on TikTok and deciding who's going to face off in what, and we finally got the votes together and we got our characters. And on today's episode, we have, this one's called, well, hopefully I got a good name for it, the Squad Outlasters match. Now, what is a Squad Outlaster match? Squad Outlaster match means that we're going to pick 5 or 6 characters. I believe it's 5. Hopefully it's 6 characters. 6 on 6 or 5 or 5 going against each other, and it's all based on who's going to survive at the end, which team is going to last which team in a battle. You guys are really going to probably be leaving a lot of issues with it down in the comment section below. Okay, so rule 1, let's just get back to that. I'll get back to that in a second. Rule 1, have fun. For this series or this event, we're just having fun. Not my word, it's not bulletproof, it's not guaranteed, it's not the ultimate answer to everything. Number 2, you guys had to decide throughout TikTok who would go against who, and you guys decided on the categories who would vote. You guys voted who would face off in what category, and this was it. And lastly, we have to determine one clear winner. So feel free to be respectful down in the comment section below if you guys agree or disagree with me. I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna most likely have a mixed bag feelings about this one. Okay, so let's begin with these characters' feats. Iron Man, a super tech genius with a suit of armor designed for every scenario, created with varieties of weapons to stop low-level thugs to cosmic-level threats. Namor, the king of Atlantis and the first mutant created in comics. With the power of the water, his powers can reach limitless potential against any foe. Mr. Fantastic, another brilliant mind with the ability to stretch his body to enormous heights, leader of the first Marvel comic superhero team. Black Bolt, the leader of the Inhumans, a race with superior genetically altered superhuman abilities, and his voice has the power to be a cosmic level threat in itself, which is why he doesn't speak at all to avoid it. Doctor Strange, the sorcerer supreme himself, who's mastered the mystic arts and with his magic relics is capable of absolutely anything when it comes to battling on a universal scale. Black Panther, the best for last, the king of the entire nation of Wakanda, which homes of the most extremely strong metal in Marvel Comics, vibranium, which is why it is tailor-made into the suit he uses, which also comes with advanced tech way ahead of its time. The land, it also possesses a special herb that gives ordinary humans supernatural abilities, and T'Challa himself wields the power of the herb and the advanced weaponry very well, as he also is known as a super genius. And of course, on the other corner, Batman, known as one of the most brilliant detectives of our time, the man himself has mastered all forms of hand-to-hand combat ever to be made. His gadgets have helped him countless times get out of a jam or to be an extra boost to get the job done at times. Known as a fearless guy. Deadman, a ghost with the power to inhabit any body he chooses for a time being without ever feeling any damage being done to his actual ghost form. If you're living, he's creeping. John Constantine. Learning at a young age how to use magic, he has mastered all forms of magic, especially in the dark arts department, managing to hold his own against world-level threats. Not bad for a human. Zatanna, with her power, it is truly limitless. By saying her spell backwards, she can use any form of magic to affect reality itself. Etrigan, fire magic demon who fights on the side of good, able to manipulate souls, relying on his fire from hell to put foes down. Change, O form of man, free the prince forever damned, free the might from fleshy mire, boil the blood in the heart for fire, gone and gone, O form of man, rise the demon, Etrigan. And lastly, Swamp Thing, a living plant-based element who has the power of the entire green that exists on Earth, has the best healing factor in comics, and is the defender of the green itself. Alright, so ultimately endgame. So I usually have like a 2 different point of view, and I might put that in here, but let me just start off with who would win in this fight actually ultimately, or who would face off in what. So I'm gonna put Deadman against Iron Man. Now, some people would wonder why I would do that. A couple things. One, in the comics, Tony Stark is, and I hate to say this, has a weakness to alcohol. So he has a vulnerable mind, which means that someone he could manipulate or could get inside it, which is Dead Man's bread and butter. He's gone inside other characters as well, so a person with a weak mind might be able to get inside of him, and in this case Tony Stark does have somewhat of a weak mind. Another thing to consider is the fact that Dead Man is most likely going to be able to get inside his body, because Iron Man doesn't have a lot of protocols for characters who can get into your body. I don't think he has a phase power armor suit or any magic suit, not that I'm aware of. He might have something. You guys feel free to leave it down in the comment section below that might be able to counter maneuver Dead Man's magical abilities, but as far as I'm aware, supernatural abilities, nope. So because Tony thinks there are far more greater threats than some magic ghosts or something. I'm guessing he's faced way more cosmic level threats, so his idea is more celestials than it is about ghost people. So I don't think he has a tactical plan for that. So I do believe Dead Man could get inside Tony's suit. And then from there, he could just tell him to self-destruct the armor suit he's in. He could have him fly into space and then just have the suit taken off. There's just an infinite amount of things where Dead Man has the advantage to put Tony out of commission during this fight. The next one I want to bring up, Namor versus Swamp Thing. Namor in his ocean element does have a way more great advantage, but so does Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing is able to, in the comics, he talked to Aquaman about how, like, hey, you know, this is my ocean or whatever, yada yada, I run this place. And then Swamp Thing's like, no, man. Plants have been here longer than you have. So, yeah, no. I'm letting you live here. Just keep that in mind. I'm keeping the peace. So Swamp Thing does have green in the ocean, so he has things that could help him during a fight or even make him strong during a fight against Namor. So Namor is not going to be able to just put Swamp Thing down easily, and Swamp Thing has that incredible healing factor, even if Namor has incredible strength to go with it. Another thing is to consider is that Swamp Thing eventually could take the fight out of Namor's favor and take it into dry land. Dry land still has Swamp Thing in his favor because he can find green anywhere, compared to Namor, which would be a little more difficult to find the proper amount of water to keep himself hydrated enough to fight during a battle against someone who has a limited amount of healing factor to his favor. At the end of it all Swamp Thing has to do is keep Namor from entering the ocean for a long period of time and just keep throwing down with him. Eventually, Namor is going to get tired. Namor's going to get exhausted, and that's where Swamp Thing can just overwhelm him with his abilities and his powers and just wipe him out completely. Mr. Fantastic versus Batman. Okay. Batman, you might think doesn't have this in the bag, but you have to consider the Omega Beam situation. Batman was able to dodge the Omega Beam from Darkseid himself, and those are pretty fast and deadly, okay? If he was able to do that, he will be able to dodge someone with elasticity or elastic abilities to, like, throw his body and catch him or whatever, or move his body to twist around like a snake or anything like that. Whatever he can extend, doesn't matter, Batman will be able to dodge it. Another thing to consider is that Batman is one of the most brilliant detectives alive. Even though Mr. Fantastic is a genius, he already would detect that Batman is an ordinary human with gadgets, which he probably could take him without needing some kind of brilliant strategy to take him on. But Batman always comes prepared with something in his belt. So something that could counter rubber, which could be overheating the rubber or freezing the rubber, is always a possibility. That's what Batman has in his tool belt to use if he needs it, and he will use it. And I think ultimately at the end, when he finally freezes up, I think he might freeze up the body of Mr. Fantastic better than he would do the whole heat thing. But if he even heated up Mr. Fantastic's body, at the end, Batman just has a lot more going for him. He just needs the long amount of time, or not even a long period of time. He just needs a certain amount of time to get it done, and he can do it. He has a lot of ingenuity and a lot of capabilities in his arsenal. Black Panther versus Atrigon. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, actually, I don't even know what you're thinking to yourself, because these two are very difficult to say. You got one character who obviously has vibranium, one of the strongest metal materials known to man, and he has the superior tech to his favor. But then you also have the most old school magical demon in existence, who's pretty impressive powerhouse characters. So, like, the two are pretty much neck to neck in this situation. But ultimately, I'm going to give it to Atrigon compared to Black Panther in this fight. Black Panther might have a lot of array of arsenal weapons to his favor that might be able to kind of disarray or take a I want to say distort. I can't recall what to call it, but they kind of put Atragon in a daze. He could do that. But with Atragon, he has just way too many powers and magic abilities. He can cast a spell if he wanted to. He could probably cast a spell where he can make his vibranium armor into pudding if he wanted to. I mean, Atragon, you guys don't know this, but Atragon could cast spells. He just doesn't like to. He likes to throw down. He likes to throw the fight. He likes pain. Even if Black Panther started jamming him with some kind of vibranium weapon, Atragon doesn't care. He's just going to keep going at it. At some point, I think the magic is going to overwhelm the suit. It's going to overwhelm the weapons because magic has just been here longer than any kind of metal material in existence, I believe. Even if it is vibranium, I do believe it's going to give at some point. And then at some point, Atragon could just burn him out of the suit or burn him out completely. And that would be the end of the game for that one. Black Bolt versus Zatanna. Now, Black Bolt can really destroy a planet with his voice. But again, Zatanna is capable of infinite amount of magic. She could do anything. She can conjure anything out of nowhere. She could do what Wanda did in the Doctor Strange Madness movie. Just make him lose his mouth. She could do what Franklin Richards did in the comics and just put him in one little trap bubble where he can't harm anyone. Zatanna has that kind of power to do so. Her power is limitless. It's infinite amount of things that she could do. So at the end of it all, yes, Black Bolt might have an incredible power. He might have strength, speed, and all that other stuff in between. But ultimately, Zatanna has just so many things going for her that she could just put Black Bolt at a disadvantage at any point in time, even if he is very strong. It doesn't stop her magic from changing anything during a fight. So yeah, I'm going to give this one to Zatanna when it comes to facing someone like Black Bolt. Now, John Constantine versus Doctor Strange. This is a tough one because obviously you're talking about the Sorcerer Supreme going against a guy who is not known as a Sorcerer Supreme. He's just known as an ordinary dude. But John is clever. John is quick. John thinks on his feet. Doctor Strange does as well, but against someone like John, it would be a little more trickier. John has a more clever, strategical mind. He's even probably one of the best detectives out there, meaning he could probably detect a lot of things from Doctor Strange as a weak point. He tricked a demon, okay? I do believe that John Constantine does have an advantage now to be able to do some damage to Doctor Strange. He was able to, kind of give the finger to Dr. Fate when he said, oh, you can't open a portal without me or whatever, and he did it without Dr. Fate. So Dr. Fate, not knowing his limitless potential, could say the same thing about Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange might think he might be able to overwhelm this ordinary guy in the coat, but John Constantine has tricked people before, and his cleverness would probably overwhelm Doctor Strange at some point during a fight, or he could summon some particular magic like the Dr. Fate helmet or whatever to help him out during this fight against Doctor Strange. Either way, John has this one at more of a slighter advantage compared to Doctor Strange. You're probably wondering yourself, why did I argue all these characters and vote all these characters in one particular area and all this stuff? Why didn't you pick one character over another character? Why didn't you choose this character over this character? I get it. There's a lot of picks and a lot of choices and a lot of options we had here to pick who would face on who and who would survive who. And obviously there are characters in the Marvel side that could have won against certain characters in the DC side. But ultimately, it's an Outlast Survivor match, which means somebody has to win over somebody's team. Even if, let's say, Marvel characters did survive, some of them, they still would have to beat the other DC characters. And I think numbers-wise, I think DC characters are going to outlast more of the Marvel characters in this fight. But let me explain some of my reasons so that way you guys don't get too upset. Argue the other side. Doctor Strange versus Deadman. Doctor Strange probably has some mystical tricks up his sleeve against someone who wants to possess his body, which means Deadman is doomed. Doctor Strange could probably put his body in some kind of little pocket-sized cube if he wanted to. Doctor Strange has a lot more going for him against Deadman in this situation. Next person, Black Bolt versus Atragon. Atragon is pretty strong, but I do believe at some point going against someone who can wipe out a planet, it's going to take its toll on you. Eventually, Black Bolt will put him out of the count officially. And yeah, that's just the end of that argument. Zatanna versus Iron Man. And now you're probably, what? That's impossible. Well, here's the thing. Zatanna's still kind of inexperienced in her situation. Sometimes she needs to think on her feet about certain spells that she's going to conjure. where Iron Man has the AI to his favor. Artificial intelligence is always going to be better. It's always going to be smarter than the ordinary person. Let's just be realistic. People can be brilliant as they want to, but there's always going to be an AI that can learn and gather more information faster than we can even comprehend. So with that AI technology that Iron Man has, which is very superior, I do believe he'll pinpoint a weakness at some point in Zatanna and put her down for the count officially at a moment's notice, using his mind to kind of put her down, like I said. And he can use his Unibeam or whatever. And Zatanna's strong, but you know, eventually that's going to do a damage to it. Black Panther versus Batman. I know. I'm going to say because Black Panther has the more superior material metal that he could put Batman down. The vibranium is just way too great. His suit's way too great. His technology is way too great. Batman might have some crazy gadgets, but Black Panther might have just far more superior gadgets during a fight, especially with the vibranium material in his possession. Namor versus Constantine. The reason I say this is because Namor, super strength and speed, he's also pretty damn smart as well. He was part of the Illuminati. He's part of the Illuminati for now. I do believe that he would figure out that John is not just an ordinary man, so he would either have to beat on him a little bit before he can do any kind of magic trick, or he could probably just take him to the ocean and drown him there and just end it like that. Okay. Now, I'm just gonna put maybe some like comics or something here, so because I don't want to have to like read back and forth or think of memorizing whatever I wrote, because these are a lot of things, because I have to make a couple points. Okay, well, a couple points. One of which is the Illuminati could easily defeat the Justice League Dark with prep time, and not even that much of it, since all of them possess the mind to develop weapons faster than the normal person. Second, a fight without preparation time is more likely to favor the Justice League Dark gang, as Constantine always had to think of something on the spot. Batman uses improvisation pretty much, mostly to escape incredible threats and assess new strategies, and Swamp Thing and Atragon are always ready for anything. And so you could be saying, it could be said about Zatanna and Deadman as well, because I mean, Deadman doesn't need to prepare, he's a ghost for crying out loud. Third, in the comics, the Illuminati have a lot more disagreements on things than Justice League Dark do. Most disagreements come from the Swamp Thing and Atragon, but everyone else is usually on the same team or on the same page. Alright, being a team or divided, the Justice League Dark has much more pressure applied than the Illuminati. So divided, they're more deadly or more dangerous, and together they're still the same way. With Tony, he would need time to figure out which suit could handle several supernatural beings and dark magic to get the proper suit, not just what he has on him. There's also that argument that you said. A couple extra things we can add on there. Young versions of the characters would have led to Illuminati having the W, since they were far more brilliant and accomplished during their youth, surpassing the Justice League Dark crew were accomplishing at their time. They were considered more inexperienced in their abilities, and each character has known to make mistakes or a mistake or two because of it. Doctor Strange's mystic art has the most chances of getting the team the W. Yeah, Doctor Strange being in their corner helps them probably win this. Even if they have magic, Doctor Strange also is the Sorcerer Supreme, so he might be able to counter new magic, and he's also faced in dark magic before as well. Black Panther's tech may hold against characters like Batman, Swamp Thing, and possibly Atragon. Namor and Mr. Fantastic's abilities are much more exposed weaknesses that can be exploited. Batman can hold his own, but not if it becomes a numbers game where the odds are against him. Deadman is limited by who he can go inside of. Okay, so ultimately the winner of this match of the May event 2023's Squadlaster Squad, or Squadlaster, I'm going to give it to Justice League Dark. And as always, no press fan, we really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later. Much love. Peace.